Welcome, Group B continues. The Nations Cup, ladies and gentlemen. We have a banger on our hands right now. We get Germany 2 against France 1. So the tournament obviously has finally started. We more or less already concluded Group A. Team Germany in Group A, Germany won. They were able to advance, and now we find ourselves in Group B. And so far, the second group of the event has been an absolute banger. We've seen both of the teams here already play once, and it was incredibly close. So it really seems that Group B is going to be a dicey one. I have no idea who's going to advance here. Both France 1 and Germany 2 were able to win their respective match, and now they face off against each other. $10,000 are on the line in the tournament here. We had 28 teams sign up and representing 17 countries. So lots of good stuff already happening here. As usual with our draft rule that every hero can only be drafted once within a match, meaning that in game number 2 you are not going to see the 10 heroes anymore that were played on the first map, just as one example. Every country could, by the way, sign up multiple teams. So we have, for example, several teams from France, from Germany, from Poland, and that's where the numbers come into play. So every time that you see a number on the score screen when we're talking about the teams, it means that this specific country has multiple teams that signed up for the event, and the lowest number always indicates the highest seed. So the French team that we now see here on screen is the strongest French team, at least on paper. That's us asking other teams where they would rate teams, what they think about the seeding, who they think are the strongest teams in the tournament. There can always be upsets, but this is just at least the logic behind it. And now that we're heading into this, let's see what the French are going to be able to do here. Masquerade locks in Johanna for the blue team. And given that we are going into Infernal Shrines in our best of 3 series here, it's of course also a big question of what exactly the Germans are going to do. This should be a fun one. I'm actually really excited for this. Group A was a little bit more one-sided. We have one of the highest seed teams there, and they just ran rampant over every opponent in the group. But then, now looking at Group B, that was very, very different. A lot of back and forth, a lot of 3-mappers already happening, and I'm curious which team is going to make it. And even whichever team wins here, it's not even a guarantee that that team will then move out of the group as the first seed. And just to explain the tournament format a little bit, we currently have 7 groups with 4 teams each, and out of each group, the first place will then advance to the next phase of the tournament. That advances 7 teams directly, and we need an 8th team, which means that the second place out of every single group then has another chance in the last chance qualifier to take that 8th slot and move on to the next round. So that's essentially what happens here. First team qualifies directly, second team has a shot through a last chance qualifier. Now we get Blaze, we get Hanzo. Over on the blue team side, we got Hogger as a lock-in, so there's going to be a lot of ping-ponging around on the shrine, a lot of spin to win, with Banana Age bringing in Lightning Shield as well, and of course a lot of Burst Heal that comes into play for this too. There's, by the way, something that I have to talk about real quickly. This was an open sign up, so everybody could sign up. A lot of people, especially on YouTube, are a little bit confused about like the quality and the differences in skill between the teams. That's just very typically in the first round of an event if you have open signups. We could have made this event an invitational and just, you know, invited the top teams that we know of, or invited the top players from each country to form a team. We decided that we wanted to give everyone an opportunity to play here, so that's why it was open signups. But that also means that by definition, in the first round, in the group stage, we're going to have in some groups one-sided matches, because there is just a big skill gap when you're taking a team of ex-HGC players and throw them up against just some random boys that wanted to have some fun and form, I don't know, like the 3rd team of their country. So just to put that a little bit in perspective. There was a lot of confusion around this in the comments on YouTube. I hope that clears it up a little bit, but yeah, just a little bit of the side information there. Mirrodin and Malfurion now for the Germans. So we got Mirrodin and Blaze for the Stormbolt combo. Could even be a follow-up from Hanzo with a quick arrow there. And then Malfurion to lock down the entrance on the shrines. For the French team, on the other hand, we get Gul'dan and we get Genji. So the 2 damage dealers are in. That immediately also gives us added wave clear after Jojo and Hogger were already drafted on the front line. Over on the right side, the final pick for Infernal Shrines, as we're starting to head into the first series of the day. We are still missing some extra damage. You could, of course, go into a triple melee, but a bit more AoE on the damage side would probably do them a lot of good as well. Both possible, and they decide to lock in Thrall. It's the War Chief, ladies and gentlemen. It's Green Jesus, Green Moses. And with that, we're heading into our first map of the day between the Germans and the French, Inferno Shrines. Team France over on the left side in blue with a lot of familiar names. Dequaza on Hogga for our first game of the series. We got GWO on Genji, Banana Age on Rega, Masquerade with Johanna, and Yasu on Gul'dan. Oh, going straight into the Echoed Corruption here as his level 1 choice. So we are not getting the typical Fellflame build, but instead we're working on the Pinnacle reward with the 85 hits. Let's see if he's gonna get there. Over on the right side of the map, we have Sereni for the Germans with Hanzo, Dexan on Muradin. We have Shak on Malfurion, the Evil. Team will have fun with that. On Blaze, and Theoden is going for Thrall with the Maelstrom weapon as his first talent. So, great stuff over here, and let's see what the teams are going to do here today. I have to admit that looking at the French team, especially at the names, you know, you looked at that lineup and you're like, oh my god, these guys are gonna be insane. They struggled a lot more in their first series than I expected. Now, they brought it home and they won it, so that was already quite nice. But I didn't really expect them to have any trouble at all in the first place. So for me, it's a little bit of a question mark of whether this group is just so much stronger than I at first glance even expected, or if just the French team isn't completely in sync just yet. But already we're getting some aggression as the German are going for a little blitzkrieg over here on the mercenary camp. They are very quickly pushed back though, as the French did not retreat as expected, but actually tried to fight it out. And Germany had to let that go. Now they went for their own camp at the same time, so they were able to pull that off. But down at the bottom of the map, it seems like the third camp is also going over to the blue team. So, uh-oh, here comes the invade from Thrall. Alright, gets a couple of stacks in, not too much, but a few hits at least connected. The French might have to let this one go after all, but so far they're aggressively pushing for the camp and they want it. We get a small advantage over the Germans, who are now willing to fight for it as well. The Germans coming in. French, on the other hand, looking for a kill, and they're getting it as Malfurion gets eliminated. And that leads us to first blood in the game. Team France with the first kill. They take down Malfurion and eliminate him quickly here. So, job well done. Top side, that's still where Dequaza is doing his thing. So he's pushing this through, and in the meantime, we have down at the bottom of the map the counter kill. Nicely done. Well played. So we get a little bit of aggression here early on in the game. A bit of a back and forth with kills that we're getting on all of this. Whereas top side, we now have the 1v1 being played out. So while things are starting to settle here a little bit, also a quick shout out here. Don't forget, guys, we actually have some merch. Not only the hot butter through cheese merch, but specifically for the event, we also have some NationsCup merch that you can check out. And of course, the old Heroes Gaming Community merch that we at some point released is also still there. So if you haven't seen that, actually, you can go and check it out in the description below. There's a link for you. But yes, if you haven't browsed through that, definitely do. The top seller that Rob is still very happy about, or one of them, is definitely the hot butter through cheese apron. So if you want to make sure that your cooked food tastes a lot better, that's a little cheat and trick that you can utilize right there. A little trick that the red team and the blue team here would like to utilize is to have maybe a side laner present that can get them experience so that they hit an early level 7 talent. But that's not really the case right now. Both of the team immediately committing to the shrine itself. Not a lot of stacks for Thrall, by the way, so far. After we had those 2 kills come through, we didn't get a lot of brawls or anything of the sorts. Fantastic play by Masquerade! 3.5 minutes in, and they are able to complete his level 4 quest. Huge play from him, and that Condemn before was sexy as hell. Masquerade with a massive move that then led to a kill against Thrall, and now they followed it up with the second one. Hanzo is destroyed too, and that gives them full access over the Frozen Punisher. So extremely well done by the French team here, and the Germans are now on the back foot. Losing 3 heroes in total, losing the first objective, and also not really getting anywhere with their stacking right now. So, yeah. Down at the bottom of the map, we have the Evil still holding on to some extra experience for the red team, trying to get them to Have a little bit of power to pressure back at the top attack. On level 7, that means we get the Elemental Assault. And they are doing so far pretty okay on defense, but they're also starting to suffer, especially at the front line. Murden is losing hit points. They get a kill on Genji on the other hand, and that was a really nice touch. That is going to make the rest of the defense so much easier. The wall has already fallen, and they are losing hit points on that fort. That's kind of unavoidable when you have a Frozen Punisher going up against you. 19 stacks for Gul'dan, a bit of a side note here. And that was a lot of damage from the French. So the French team, lots of damage here against that fort. Well done by them. Weren't able to take the entire thing out since Genji was eliminated. But this was still a very, very good job. And we'll see if they can maybe build on that. Move to the top lane, go for another push and take that fort out. Take a structural advantage here. On the other hand then, Genji again in trouble and has to zip out. What about Dexan though and Muradin? He might be in trouble too. Trying to escape and let his trade kick in. And they're still alive and kicking. Now the Germans are trying to be aggressive here. They're trying to not fall back. They're trying to not all of a sudden just play defensive here. So they're going for aggressive plays. And with a beautiful jet propulsion, they get a kill on Hogger. But they might have gone a little bit too deep and get punished a moment later. As Gul'dan eliminates Thrall and Genji goes full Kinslayer and drops Hanzo. Kills his brother. And shock on Malfurion. Barely. No! He doesn't survive. The damage over time still drops him. Boy, that was clutch. He tried to escape but couldn't. So now we have level 10 hitting for the French team, which gives them Blessed Shield. We also get the Shockwave for Hogger. 9 stacks for the Germans on Thrall. But his level 4 progress was shut down multiple times now. So they go for Banana H, who has the Ancestral. Blessed Shield, Horrify! And that's exactly why you don't fight against level 10 abilities when you don't have your heroics yet. Now the Germans, obviously, they didn't really expect that flank from the top. They saw an opportunity to get a quick and easy kill and went for it. But that just resulted in them losing Hanzo again. So it's now 7 kills to 3. And the French team has pulled ahead by 1.5 levels. And to make matters worse, at the top side, we have GWO and a Quasar go for a kill against Blaze. And that is the end of the top side fort. So the French looking very, very strong here. Really nice improvement on the side of the blue team. I think they went up against Team Sweden in Group B, if I'm not mistaken, the last time. And that was quite close. The Germans, if I'm not mistaken, they were able to take the victory against the Swedish team. I might have to double check that. But still, as I said before, this group is a tough one. And so far, the French at least are doing well here. A victory in this series would go a long way for them. They would secure themselves a very good position to get first seed in the group, which is of course the most important one, since this allows you to qualify for the next round of the event directly. We got 12 stacks for Thrall. His first threshold is at 25, and then the even more important one at 55. If you get there, then you're becoming an absolute monster. Pinnacle reward, of course, is crazy, but very, very rarely do we see Thrall get to those numbers. And I don't expect it here either. Both teams now with heroics, but level 13 as an advantage for the French is definitely in the cards, and they should hit it soon once they eliminate the minions in the mid lane. So that shouldn't really be a big problem for them. There it is already. Horrify, arrow from Hanzo. Horrify basically negated, so no kill. Even the bunker on the ground here for just a moment. And Malfurion had to pop his ult as well. So lots of damage done here in that last encounter, but nobody has been eliminated. The Germans starting to take a bit of a lead on the objective, but Team France is starting to push in very aggressively, trying to make their move here. They're looking for the kill again with an X-Strike on Genji. A Swift Strike to follow that up. And Blaze gets murdered as Rega comes in for the last fight, and then they go for Hanzo. Sereni gets popped like a pimple. That's the end of Hanzo. Boy is back home. And that's now 10 kills to 3 and another objective for the Frenchies. They're looking strong here. 37,000 damage for Gul'dan. We have 20,000 from Genji. And the German team, they're having a lot of problems dealing with that. So at this point, they are getting attacked in the mid lane, and this doesn't really look too sexy for them. Seems like they're about to lose another one of their structures. And with the second fort now falling, this is just setting the pace a little bit. We have at the bottom of the map Hogger, for example, pushing too. So France is just taking advantage of these little plays that they're making, looking even for another kill here on Thrall, and they drop him. Thrall taken down once again. Blue team looking more like a well-oiled machine. Definitely much, much more on the same page and in sync than we've seen the last time that they played in Group E. Now the play for Muradin, who might also fall. The Blessed Shield connects, and they lock in kill number 12. Very, very well done. So now the play for Hanzo, and it's just starting to turn into a bit of a slaughter. Fantastic performance here by the French team. And the Germans, they're clearly struggling. They are in trouble right now, and they know it too. Game number 1 is looking extremely good for the team in blue. Making another play here, and obviously going to try and just push all of this a little bit further forward by taking mercenary camp after mercenary camp, establish more pressure on the lanes, and just pin the Germans down. And you can just see it on the vision here. They are locked down in their own base, essentially. They every now and then see maybe Hogger pop up at the bottom of the map. You can easily escape, but they don't really know where the blue team is. Now they have the push visible in the middle of the map, as we're seeing another attack from them. And, well, with the level 16 talent advantage, you can't really blame the French. They are looking very, very strong here. They have a 3-level lead, they have a talent advantage, and they are determined to use that to try and push this more aggressively and see if they can maybe get the first keep of the game. And with Gul'dan getting lots of damage in, and Hogger also being available for poke, they can do exactly that. Again, the same play. Horrify against Thrall, and he is gone. Thrall is getting farmed this game. He already died 4 times. Hanzo died 5 times, by the way. So it's an absolute brutal display of dominance that we're currently getting from the Frenchies. And they are moving through the Germans like hot butter through cheese over here. Ancestral hitting Masquerade, so he's still in play, no problem there. The lead extended again to 3 levels in just a moment as the French team is hitting level 17. 46,000 damage now for Gul'dan. And yeah, this is starting to hurt. But the keep is still there. The keep is actually still there, but they're all falling back. They didn't want to wait it out. They didn't want for Gul'dan to drop a few more abilities in to try and take that down for good. So yeah, maybe a chance for the Germans to hold on for that to that a little bit longer. That's a big question at the end of the day. Of course, the next objective is now coming up too. The French still have every single fort, by the way. So that means that they have fountains that they can tap during these fights, during these battles. We'll see how they're going to deal with that. Top side is where the where the music is going to play now. But I'm kind of curious. This is basically the last chance for the Germans to make a move here, in my opinion. And there's still a talent behind. They do not have a level 16 talent. So they have to take a very disadvantageous fight here. This is not a battle they want to take. They have to. There's very little else that they can actually pull off here as the game continues if they lose the Punisher. So they're just saying, boys, we gotta make a play now. We can't wait for an entire level. Our opponent will eventually hit 20. Will maybe even delay that top Punisher if they get to the stacks. Genji had to jump out here. The Germans at least sustaining themselves so far quite well through the battles, but they're still at a disadvantage. They're trying to get some hit in. Blessed Shield and Horrify are still available, and that's horrible for the red team. Already Muradin is getting attacked, and he's the first one to fall. They locked him down quickly and get the kill. Now Hanzo goes down. That's 16 kills, 2-3. Malfurion is eliminated too, and they're starting to clean up house. This is gonna be a 5-man team wipe, as the French can essentially move through the middle and end the game. There's some topside pressure here as well. And the blue team on their way to potential victory here. Fantastic performance by them. Again, I have to say, I am impressed with how much in sync they are. It looked a little bit more rough when they had their first match in the group, but this is just way more on point. And it is, without a doubt, a victory for them in game number 1. It's going to be interesting to see, though, what happens on the second map, if the Germans are going to bring this back, if this was a bit of a fluke, if the draft just didn't work out for them, or what's going to happen here. But the red team hasn't given up yet. They're still hoping for a bit of a miracle. They're hoping for mistakes on the blue team side. They hope for them to completely just run it down middle now. and get wiped. But here comes the attack again. Malfurion barely survives, and the core is already losing hit points. Muradin pulls a Houdini and just disappears, and this is all she wrote. 20 kills, 2-3, 14 minutes into the game as Team France comes in with the victory on Infernal Shrines. They lock in the W and they take the lead in the best of 3 series here in Group B of the Nations Cup. Well played. GG. I hope all of you guys are enjoying the Nations Cup. We have an epic event on hand right now, and it's tons of fun. But please keep in mind that events like the Nations Cup, like Meta Madness, the Bounty Cup, and many other tournaments that we've been running on the channel here to support Heroes Esports are only possible through either private supporters or campaigns that we have with partners on the channel. And right now, we have a campaign going on where you can support the channel for free and with a minimum of investor time. All that you gotta do is download Opera GX, which is a browser that has an integrated VPN, has tons of themes and other features that are directly targeted at gamers. But if you download the browser through the link below and install it, maybe watch a video or two on YouTube, watch a live stream, or just play around with it a little bit, that already is enough to support the channel here. I would really appreciate if you could take a few minutes of your time to do exactly that. As I said before, it's absolutely free, doesn't cost you anything, and I've actually seen quite a few people that then even switched over because they prefer the browser to others. Be it as it may, if you want to support the channel, there's an easy way to do it. So thank you very much in advance and enjoy the rest of the show today. Alright guys, so we are going to Brexis. The French have actually spanked the Germans a little bit. And that was actually quite the performance here from the French team. So job well done by them. And I got myself some reinforcements for game number 2. So, well, we got Tim with us, who apparently also watched the first map, even though he wasn't in the lobby. But, yeah, you just woke up, right?
Yeah, just woke up about 30 minutes ago, but I'm here for you, man. Friendship and Nations Cup is what it's all about. Yeah, it felt like poor Thrall over there was having a very rough time, but it makes sense. There was Genji, Hogger, and then Johanna, who went into a full cube build, making it hard for him to stack up. Just complete dominance from Team France, but Team Germany, man, they got the evil on their team, so I could see them turn this around and really set up Brax's holdout.
I know this was the only reason why you actually want to cast a series with me, because you realized that evil was on their side. Did you, by the way, see that he went into Discord after we casted their first game, and he's like, what the hell happened with my nickname? What is going on here? I just rewatched the VOD, and I'm not quite sure what's happening.
You choose a name like that, man, someone's gonna give some pronunciation behind it, and that's what we did as casters. You are now known as the evil for the rest of your life, and you must wear it as a badge of pride.
I think he'll hear that, yeah. But yeah, we're going to Brexis, so the 10 heroes that were played on the last map cannot be played again. Brexis Holdout is not a map that I expected, but I gotta say, we have, for the group stage, we have generally for the tournament right now, basically a rule where teams cannot ban maps. So we just deleted the map bans. So all of the maps that are in the map pool are viable, and teams can pick. We talked to a lot of the players before. They thought that would be interesting too. Most of them like it, some didn't, but we decided to run the tournament this way. So you can technically, as a team, now look for one of the maps that is less played, try and get, specialize a little bit on that map, for example, and then try and pick it and force it through. So it's much easier to prepare certain strategies for certain maps now, since you are guaranteed that you can pick them at some point. Maybe that's what's going on here. That said, it's actually the map choice of the French. So Germany decided they want to first pick, first ban, and the French, they went for Brexis, so we'll see.
Well, they already got a plan, obviously, if you're looking at the picks themselves. We have Misha, who is a top contender on maps like this in Dragonshire, right? Being able to control a beacon while also microing in the minion wave is a fantastic strength. And then you have Sylvanas to really bolster out the Braxis Zerg push. And oh my gosh, Mr. Khaldor, we are going to be getting a grouped up team composition for Team Germany, as we have Garrosh, Zarya, and then Ariel rounding out the first 3 picks.
Let's face it, the second you see Garrosh as your first pick, you're already thinking Zarya on this map. Immediately. Yeah, it's a 1-4 split. That bot lane is strong, but that they also come in with Oriel immediately, that is going to be quite the bot lane that they're running here. And
smart ban.
That's a very good ban. Germans with tanks, historically not really the best move. So the French coming in with some bad memories here, and they're like, you know what? How about we're getting rid of? No, jokes aside, if you see that lineup with that sustain, you don't want to give them Sergeant Hammer. That's gonna be a little bit too much.
Yeah, and the good news with the pickup of Oriole and Zarya, there are still a couple of other options. I think Sergeant Hammer is probably one of the better ones, especially in Brex's holdout. There's only 2 lanes, so you don't have to rotate around a lot. But we can also get a Zul'jin, we can get a Vala as well. It's all a matter of what exactly they want to move into. There are more options for the Germans. Brex's holdout, though, is a map about wave clear and hard engage, and that is already coming in spades here. Bit of a combo with Masquerade playing a Nubrak, and then Stukov to follow it up with that silence and that lurking arm.
Yeah, they can definitely now dive on whoever the target is there and then follow it up with that lurking arm. As you said, they need a bit more burst damage, maybe, but this is already a nice lineup for them too. I'm curious though what the Germans put in as the damage dealer. And I would also like, I mean, we need more wave clear, right? So they go Cassia first. Still need their side laner, so Cassia is going to be their main damage, and we get Deathwing as well for the evil.
That's right, the evil on Deathwing, the ultimate evil. You know, he might not be enjoying his nicknaming right now, but he's not doing himself any favors picking up Deathwing over here, the World Breaker himself. But Deathwing makes a lot of sense. When they actually do get to team compositions where they're actually fighting in the area, Deathwing can be in the front, he can absorb a lot of firepower, can't be CC'd, and Cassia will be free reign to be able to really run that back line. They're going to have to really be careful, though, because if Sylvanas can open up this map early, it's going to be rough. And oh my gosh, a Zagara to run the top lane. Being able to drop that Hydra on top of the... No?
She is bot lane. Zagara is
quite... Oh, she's right!
Yeah, she's still really popular on Dragonshire and also on Braxis here. So...
Ooh.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see if that's going to be enough. Guys, we're going to jump into map number 2 now. We're going to Braxis, Team Germany against Team France. The blue team, the Frenchies, over on the left with the lead in this best-of-3 series as we are heading into Braxis holdout. We got the Quasar on Rexa, Sylvanas played by GWO, Banana H on Stukov for game number 2, Yasuo on Zagara, and Masquerade is playing an Uberak.
And for our red team, Shock on Oriole, the on Deathwing, we have, oh my gosh, I don't know how to say this name, Tio on Zarya, Dexon on Garrosh, and Sereni on Cassia. How do you say that one for Zarya?
Theoden?
Theoden. Okay, yeah. You said it so easily, it makes you sound stupid.
I mean, like, you just read the name, dude. Like, I don't know.
Those are weird letters that are combined, okay? We do have a bit of a switch up here. 4-man on the top lane looking to put some pressure here, while Rexer will have to try and hold that bottom lane. Deathwing dropping down the flame immediately, and we got a match on our hands.
I'm actually a little bit surprised that you struggle with that. When we have the Polish teams coming in with some crazy names, I absolutely understand that you're struggling. But that one is fairly straightforward, or so I thought.
I'm going to struggle with the Polish, don't worry. Oh my gosh, just complete rundown here on our lanes. Towers are already being cleaned up, going straight in for the fort as they put some decent damage on top of them. Who is winning this race so far? If I were to put the smart money on it, I would assume the Sylvanas composition would be doing more damage. It looks like it just barely, as this fort here in the bottom lane is down to half HP. Misha steps up, gets hit by the bear, put into the wall, and that fort has not been cleaned up. Meanwhile, on the top lane, that fort is being pushed straight to the keep already.
They gotta defend, obviously, but it will be a fort for a fort. Now, the French team is getting more out of this because they can push for the keep wall, but we already see the red team moving back. So, with forts with them basically just racing structures down this quickly, it essentially means you're accelerating the game. That's all that it is. You get more passive experience gains right now. We have a little bit more wiggle room on lane. Your opponent can't retreat to a fort and the fountain on that lane any longer. So they're accelerating the game here, and both of the teams were totally fine with it. Sylvanas, Zagara on one side with enormous amount of pressure, and then this just insane 4-man that we're getting for the red team at the bottom of the map. So now that the objective is up and each team has a beacon, it's gonna get spicy.
Yeah, it is spicy already. I mean, we had the forts down before level 3 even came in. That is a very rare occurrence in Heroes of the Storm. This game has been out for over 10 years, and I think I've seen it maybe a handful of times. The only time I can really come to mind is back when we had the McDonald's composition from Fnatic back in the day with
Sky
the Jin
Temple.
Ariel comp. Yeah, those were good times. But 4 is about to connect for our teams, and we're going to start to see the game slow down a little bit in terms of control for these beacon progress, as it's all about the mercenary camps. Also, you got to take over the microphone. I forgot to close my window, and it's 8 o'clock in the morning here, and I'm yelling, so be right back.
Yeah, no problem. And as he is going for the window, they're going for the kill. Garrosh goes down, and that is first blood. So once again, the French able to get the quick double hit in here. I mean, great job for the French, honestly, that they are able to get themselves a kill and also some progress on the beacon. They were able to now go straight in and get that topside beacon, but it's been an exchange, 30% for the blue team, and they are now crushing that bot lane. Zagara plus Sylvanas is really starting to become a bit of a problem. The Germans thought that they had the big sustain and pressure comp that would siege up on lane, but now instead we're seeing essentially the French doing that. And Sylvanas has an absurd amount of stacks, considering that we're only 3 minutes into the game. 150 stacks already. That is just nasty.
That is pretty good, and for those that are wondering, you want to get the 250 for that Black Arrow's damage be brought up by 50%, and then 400 times to get a little bit more with the healing as well. So they are clearly on their way, as they're a quarter of the way to that final goal. Misha going to be picked up on the top lane here, and beacon progress begins 30% to 8% right now. And really, it comes down to who's going to walk away with this bigger Zerg wave. If Sylvanas' crew is going to be able to do so, they will be pushing that bottom wave and hoping to open the fort. And once that map gets opened up, suddenly boss plays are on the field, and things are really starting to heat up, as Stukov is going to be deleted here by Team Germany.
The Germans, they just can't push against... Well, they can't go into a push battle against the blue team. Yeah. But in a sustain fight, it's going to get really interesting, especially, of course, with Zarya... Sorry, not Zarya, but Cassia. Also supplying that extra blind that they have here that helps them with mitigating some of the damage. It's going to be interesting as the game continues, especially as level 10 abilities come in. We're now 4 minutes into the game, and it's honestly wild how just crazy it is. You look at the minimap, and both of the teams are all over the place here, trying to steal beacons, trying to go for structures. The French are playing a little bit of Red Dota, where they're trying to push a lane while occupying the rest of the German team so that they can't go for proper defense. You see it top lane right now. Zagara, Sylvanas, they're again trying to take structures down.
Yeah, you were talking about this. The composition for Team Germany is already wanting to be tight and grouped up, but they have to keep an eye on Sylvanas. If he ever disappears and they have a moment to themselves, they're going to open up a portion of the map. And you already saw the wall being deleted up in the top right corner. And with that beacon under full control, Masquerade's doing a great job of denying anyone from rotating over. There's nothing Team Germany can really do except run it down at their opponents. And they do find an engage here on Stukov. Banana H getting a couple hits on top of him. In fact, poor Garrosh is maybe regretting that idea as he walks away with a sliver of HP.
He actually turned around for a second and thought that he could maybe get a connect, but that didn't work, so he kept himself alive and moved back out. But it's now 30% on each side for the beacon progress, and with the keep losing hit points, that's definitely a concern. You can see what the French are trying to do here, but it also seems a little bit that they're not willing to engage into prolonged proper team fights for the reasons we outlined earlier. So it's going to be interesting if they can just control the macro game throughout this entire match. Sylvanas is benefiting from this on more than only one level. She has a crazy amount of stacks and just keeps increasing this. It's definitely in the cards that we're going to see the pinnacle reward for her completed, depending on how long the game goes.
Well, Garrosh has an idea of where exactly Sylvanas is. That's been his job right now as Dexon scouts him on the bottom right. And then, of course, Deathwing is going to rotate over here and attempt to start grabbing this beacon on the bottom. And he does grab it. And this is why you pick Deathwing here, so he can't be CC'd. He can potentially escape, but it's too much damage too quickly. And the evil is now the dead as he gets picked off by Team France.
The evil dragon goes down. Yeah, but still, it gave them another 30%. Would, of course, have been really nice for them if they would have been able to save him. But it's now the blue team that has the double control. And that's a bigger problem because there's only 4 on the map. Deathwing is now coming back. But there's a lot of progress ticking in for Team France. They're now at 64% themselves, just as we have Dexan on Garrosh retake control over the bot lane. But the topside pressure, there it is again. Deathwing is dropping in, is trying to stop the minion wave here and burn that down. The problem is that the French don't even care. They come in with Yasuo and Rayquaza, and they're just trying to strike structures down. It's all that they're trying to do here. Get ahead by dropping forts and keeps.
They have two of the deadliest species in all of Earth, Zerg and bears. And those bears and Zerg are pushing the top lane and working on that keep. And that's actually a really good point. They're going to have two options here. Ooh, Ariel getting tossed here. He's going to be able to go around with the whip, saving her teammate here, but Dexon might not be so lucky. He already used his heal here. Needs Ariel to burn around and give him a circle of life, and he does. Dexon continues to get away, and looks like he'll be just fine. In fact, with a giant dragon rotating in, they take out Rexar, and somehow, some way, Team Germany is able to turn that fight into their favor and grab the beacon. What an electric game number 2 for us in this series.
It's awesome. I mean, we're just now hitting level 10, and there's so many things to talk about. The way that the French rotated to make that attack happen and create a numbers advantage as they went for this fight was awesome. And then Germany, they were in danger the entire time of losing one or two of their heroes, and somehow kept them alive, brought in Cassia, brought in Deathwing, and the second that it was a proper 5 versus fight, they were able to turn the tables, take down Rexa, and bring it. But the macro game that we're getting from the French is awesome. I absolutely love it. Now, though, there's the hit against Garrosh, and he goes down just as they're trying to push with the Zerg wave. They're gonna get the fort here. They have the boss pushing through the top lane too. Stukov dies, and this is just a crazy second game between the teams.
Yeah, you have to wonder, without Garrosh, do they want to continue pushing forward here? And I would argue for it. They have large health bars with the boss as well, with the Guardian sieging away. All they have to do is make sure to play around this boss, and of course, it's a giant ability spell here. As you can see, it just shells away damage. If they could at least equalize what they have in the top lane. Oh my gosh, a huge Graviton Surge coming off, getting 3 people there to follow up, but with Ariel being locked down in the background corner, Serena's going to go ahead and back away and keep her alive instead. But still, the push continues.
And they have that boss still at 30% of its HP. They will get damage in on that keep. If they can take it down or not, that's a very different question, but they're gonna try. Keep in mind that at the bot lane, the French team also took out a fort, so technically it's more of a trade than anything else. If they can keep those Guardians in the back alive and maybe eliminate the keep, that would be amazing for them. But it seems that Germany will have to back off. They have now 4 kills against 3. They slightly pulled ahead in experience, and only 10 minutes in the game, and we already have all of the forts removed from the map. It's a crazy second game.
Yeah, it sure is. And this is a situation that it feels like Team Germany wants to be in. They want these 5v5 fights. And there's going to be a Garrosh engaged into a Dragon Flying Forward. He goes for the Massive Fear. Heals need to be coming out from Ariel, and they do land them on 2 targets. Zagara and a Nubrak have been picked off, and Team Germany now buys themselves at least a little bit of breathing room for the next 20 seconds. They'll grab some mercenary camps and start to continue sieging down this top keep, and they're hoping to get it a little bit lower and maybe even take it away.
This was really well done. That Valkyrie that we got from Sereni that just connected with Zagara so well, allowed them to get a kill. Now they can siege up at the top lane a bit more. These team fights are going pretty okay for them, and now that leading experience is going to translate into a level 13 advantage in just a few moments. They're obviously also waiting for the next objective. For the French, it gets a bit more tricky. They dominated the macro game with really smart rotations that were just fantastic, but now that they are basically forced to react to the Germans, and they don't like this at all. Their playstyle was designed to make the Germans react to them and then out-rotate them, outplay them. That worked well for a long time, but now that we have momentum for the red team, this is going to be tricky to break through for the French team.
There is always good news for them, though. They do always have that Sylvanas factor. In fact, let's go ahead and check in real quick and see where exactly their Black Arrow stats are. 295, so they have hit that 250 threshold, looking for that 400 up pretty soon. So if they can win the next Zerg wave, I can see them pushing forward and winning the game. In fact, I would argue that we're at a point where we're so neck and neck, whoever gets the bigger Zerg wave next round may be able to pull off the victory, and I would probably lean a little bit more towards the Sylvanas composition. But I'm liking the aggression from Team Germany. After their rough early game where it felt like they didn't have much breathing room, you're starting to really see them control the middle of the map. They're stopping the Zerg creep from coming out from Zagara. They're making sure Sylvanas is stuck in her base, so they can't really have to deal with any of the keep pressure she can put on.
And now that we're having the next beacon up, this is where it gets really interesting, because maybe the French are able to rotate around them now. They're certainly going to try, but the beacon progress initially goes to the Germans, so they're already getting a small advantage. But yeah, the French, they are going to have to fight eventually, so they're going to try and create a situation that is advantageous to them. Deathwing! Yeah, they come in. Maybe they can take out Misha here, but that's the best that they can hope for. And, of course, the control of the beacon, which gives an even bigger progress now.
Evil over the corner here, wanting to fly in. Here he comes. World Breaker jumps right on top of Yasu, puts down that flame. Gonna have the rest of his teammates show up afterwards. Garrosh would love to lead the charge, but a beautiful Anubarak getting that Impale, knocking them back here. And poor Garrosh is getting low and lower in HP. Able to get out his Unstoppable, but here's a Devouring Model, lockdown 2.
And immediately the stun, double stun for Manubarak. They're all low, and Cassia gets destroyed. There's the kill. The French were waiting for it, and they finally grabbed it. They get the kill, but the Zerg wave goes to the Germans. They lose the... they lose Deathwing, they lose Zarya, they lose 3 in total. It's 6 kills to 6, but the Zerg wave at the bottom of the map needs to be stopped by the French. So the Germans might have lost the battle, but they at least got into a position where the French won't be able to exploit it.
Yeah, the French team actually, for a second there, they started to mount up and run to the top right corner, and like, you know what, that's 100% Zerg wave. Maybe we don't leave that bad boy alone. So a heads-up play for Team Germany going for the full 100% beacon, and that will buy them another fight for the next round. Holy crap, Khaldor! Thank you for the invitation to the Nations Cup. This has been an insane game to watch.
Group B has been awesome. I mean, honestly, all the games that we got here were crazy. It's very different also from what happened on the first map, which was absolutely dominated by the French. They took control and then ran with the momentum. Now, though, it is a leading experience for the blue team that could give them that level 16 advantage at a crucial time. There's a boss up on the map, and we'll see how they're going to play it. And the Germans just come in and in vision say, you know what, we want these fights. We want this battle before you hit 16, so we're just going to try and bait you into it.
Yeah, and at the same time, Team France probably just wants to slow this fight down. They want to hit that level 16, and slowly that experience is trickling in. One thing the red team has to be aware of, though, is there's a catapult on the top lane going in for that keep. Here's a mind control trying to lock down Garrosh. Evil comes in with the corner, goes straight for the World Breaker, gets back on top of Sylvanas, but she's able to Haunting Wave away. And Masquerade able to burrow charge last second, and the boss is actually grabbed. Team Germany gets it. It will now start pushing down the bottom lane, but they need to defend. Look at that top lane in the top right corner. There's a massive minion wave pushing on both the bottom keep and the top keep. They gotta clear it out.
Yes, they definitely need to go there, but it's just amazing that they went and grabbed that boss. That was actually really important, because the blue team would have most likely made a play for it after they hit the level 16 talents, but this keep at the top is about to go down, and they barely save it. But it gives a free
HP.
It gives a free defense at the bottom of the map to the French. So that boss cost them time, but not any actual damage on structures.
Okay, for the first time in 15 minutes in this game, we get a slight break on this constant fighting that has been occurring as both teams are going to start setting up for those mercenary camps. Now, we will be having the beacon progress spawn up right now, so in 30 seconds, we're back to the full chaos. Top lane is going to be a real major thorn in the side for Team Germany. That keep is down to 1,000 HP, and if Sylvanas or God, even a Nubrak is able to get over there and drop down a couple of beetles, that thing is going to fall over quickly. So you're seeing them position, ready for a fight at a moment's notice if they see anyone stepping up for it.
And they're already trying to control that choke point with Stukov. They're zoning them away, force them to rotate around it, and that's the end of the keep. Nicely done. Stukov with the control over here in that bush, gets the lurking arm there, and then once that's the case, the Germans are just not willing to move into it because they know it might instantly take the entire team out or whoever gets caught there. So they fall back, and that means that their own core is now exposed. And that's a huge problem for the top lane. So we'll see how they deal with it. For now, it's a beacon on each side. But since Cassia still has to defend, the blue team has the numbers advantage at the bottom of the map and is using it.
Yeah, the Evil saw that Sylvanas had to go to the bottom lane to clear out that massive wave that was coming forward, that mercenary camp, so he go ahead and lands on the bottom. It's the only beacon he could move towards because he had vision. Oriole gets engaged on, she's going to drop her ages to stay alive, and Cassia's trying to rotate over, but sadly, with Oriole getting fully engaged on, Team Germany couldn't get all 5 minutes or members here. And now Garrosh going to be the next focus. Oriole taking some decent damage, and Nubrak continuing with the burrow charge into an Impale, and there's a second pick. Oh no, this might be game over, Khaldor. If they can find another pick here, Dexon trying to escape. Theoden trying to get out as well, and he will, but that's 3 members down. 60% of the team has been deleted, and the Devouring Maw for more!
And they're going for the full kill, and they pull it off. It's a 5-man team wipe as the French are on their way to victory. Extremely well played, specifically on the macro side. A fantastic game by the blue team. so well executed here on Braxis, and it seems like they're going to win the series with a 2-0.
Yeah, the Evil tries to stop it, but it's not going to go well for him. That core begins to fall down to 40, down to 30, 20%, up to 10, and ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a 2-0 for Team France.
Nicely done. GG, and well played.